Let's meet someone who turned her passion for movement and mindfulness into a thriving wellness brand. I'm Kate Save. The Inspired CEO starts now. Welcome to The Inspired CEO, where each episode we explore the innovative wellness practices that are driving success and longevity in the modern business world. In this interview, I speak with Rosaia, the visionary founder of Warrior One Yoga, about building a purpose-driven wellness brand, navigating challenges, creating freedom through smart leadership, and the power of yoga to transform lives at every stage. So thank you, Nova. Thanks for joining us.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
I must say, you've created a beautiful brand with Warrior One, and I'm sure anybody listening today has driven past one of your locations. They're aesthetically so pleasing as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love the brand and I love the name, I love the studios, and very grateful to be in this industry because it's very rewarding as well, very heart-led business.
So how did your yoga practice start?
So I actually started when I was about 25 years old.
Yes.
I was a gym goer, so I really was pushing myself in the gym and my body started to kind of have niggly injuries here, there and everywhere. So I got to yoga because I needed to kind of balance it all out, and I became obsessed. I was going every day. There was a studio in Paran, which I loved, called Hotbox. It was one of the first OG
I've heard of that.
Yeah, studios in Melbourne. Everyone went there.
Yeah.
And I went there every day for years and years and years. And then about 5 years into my yoga journey is when we opened the first studio, which was in Brighton.
Incredible. And so that idea, I guess, of practicing yoga and then thinking, this is what I'm going to do. How did you make that a reality? Because a lot of people will still be thinking, that's what I'll do one day, but they've never taken that step to actually bring it to fruition.
So the year before we opened the first studio, I actually did a business incubation course. And I took a year off and just really focused on the idea behind Warrior One Yoga and how I wanted it to look and feel, and so really integrated that time. So then when the first studio came about, the concept that they'd really drilled into me was don't work in the business, work on the business. So I'd done that from day one, and so I knew that it was going to be a challenge. All businesses are hard, particularly at the beginning. You're wearing all the hats and doing all the things. But I had that time and that space beforehand for opening to really make sure that this was the industry I wanted to go in and wanted to do it in a certain way and build it over the years.
That's incredible too, because it's very obvious that you've built it intentionally. Everything about the spaces, the branding, it's very intentional. And take me back to, what job were you doing prior to leaving and taking a year off?
Yeah, I was working in my mum's company.
Yeah.
She has her own business as well in Melbourne. And so I was working with her, doing all the things, marketing mainly, but also buying and supporting her small business and whatever she needed.
So that transition then to taking a year off, was that hard? Like a big decision?
I was working part-time a little bit,
Yes.
and the course I was doing was in Sydney. So I was flying back and forth. And actually about 9 months into the course is when we got the opportunity to open the first studio and the first site. So I was still in the course about 9 months in, and then that's where we had the first studio was born in 2015.
And how did you find your first studio? Because I can imagine that's a big decision. You pick one location, you're putting everything into it.
Yes, it was small and humble, and that was probably a really good beginning because it allowed us to make mistakes. It allowed us to see what worked and what didn't work, to test different strategies, and we outgrew it very quickly. That was the challenge. So we worked really hard. It was a very labor-intensive business at the beginning. You know, yoga studios open at 6 a.m. and close at 9 o'clock at night. So we were running classes all day, every day, 7 days a week.
Gosh.
And it built and built and built until the point where we had to start saying, okay, we need to expand. We need to open more sites.
And so that first expansion, did you move sites for the Brighton site or
We eventually did. So the second site was Mordialloc.
Yes.
Which was a beautiful,
bigger site,
huge space, and a beautiful opportunity for us to run teacher trainings, which is something we really desired to do. And then, yes, we outgrew Brighton, so we had to upgrade that space, which unfortunately we opened just before COVID, about 3 or 4 months before COVID. And then the third space was Mornington. So sequentially we opened them like that, but then the little studio we had to eventually give up.
Yes. So it's been 10 years now?
10 years this March.
Goodness me. So when you look back on that journey, what do you think some of those pivotal moments were in the growth and knowing when to take that next step?
Oof. In retrospect, we took the steps at the wrong time because we opened one studio just before a lockdown, massive lockdown, and the second studio we opened at the beginning of 2021, not knowing there was going to be more lockdowns ahead.
Oh no, wow.
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend do that with 2 restaurants. So I think retrospect, no one would have known that was going to happen. No one could have avoided those mistakes. So yeah, not your fault. Just
bad timing in that sense to do big fit outs and then to have to close pretty much immediately was quite difficult. And I think our closure was about 380 days in total.
Whoa.
So huge closures. However, I don't think there is a such thing as a right time. I think in business, you just have to go for it. If the opportunity opens itself, which it did with the sites, that we did them and then we made them work.
Yes.
And then through COVID, you just had to, switch to online to try and build as much revenue to survive it.
And so you went to online, and what did that transition look like? Because obviously you've gone from studios face to face and actually setting up to be able to do that. Like, what did you do?
We moved quickly. We used our Brighton studio, which was the new build, and it was a really beautiful fit out. And we filmed from there every single day until we couldn't, until the radius came in and our teachers had to film from home. But the community loved it, and to be honest, it was such a beautiful experience to offer something that was so needed in a time that was so stressful for many. So it was actually a really beautiful transition for us. Yes, we needed the capital to survive and stay open, but more than anything, it was a real good connection for our community. It was a really beautiful connection for our teachers who then got to, open their homes even to our community and teach from there with dogs and cats and children and mayhem going on behind the scenes, but it was very raw and real. So it was actually a really good experience.
And so how do you sort of control something like that as a business, because your brand is so strong, to be aesthetically or to match your business?
Oh, when they were filming from online at home?
Or did you just let that go?
It was free, very free. But that was the beauty of it. It wasn't polished. It wasn't, very high end. Sometimes the audio didn't work or the internet was cutting out and this, the screen wasn't, doing exactly what we wanted to do, or Zoom shut down, or whatever it is. But that was just the fun of it.
The rawness of it kept it real. And in terms of the different sites and demographics, do you find that each location has a different feel, or how would you describe each location?
Yeah, I'd say that all the studios have a similarity to an extent. The aesthetics are all quite similar. They're all the same designer. However, the communities differ just more so the time of day. So the person that comes to a 6 a.m. class is maybe a little bit different to the person that comes to a midday class versus the person that comes to a 7:30 evening yin class. So I find no matter what studio you go to, it's the time of day where it changes. And the community at all 3 studios is very strong. I think as well because we run retreats and we run teacher training, so a lot of people connect in those moments of the last 10 years where they get to go a little bit deeper into their practice. They get to experience a little bit more of the yoga, outside an hour class. And then they build these bonds and connections. And you see that a lot in the studio. A lot of friendships are made.
So for people that haven't done yoga, you talked about really finding purpose in yoga. So deep down, what does that mean?
It's interesting because a lot of people find the yoga mat or find the practice of yoga through either some stress in their life, emotional, physical stress. Maybe their body's broken down like mine was in my 20s, that, you start to feel things are not working as efficiently. And so they find the practice for those reasons. But then I think they get on the mat and they realize it's more than a movement modality. It's like this huge reconnection with yourself, this reconnection to who you are, your purpose, your intent in life, what you want out of it. I mean, you do yoga, every class, you always set an intention at the beginning of class. You always sit there and, the teacher says, what's your intention of the day? So it's very mindful, it's very connected. And I think that's why a lot of people end up falling in love with it beyond the physical benefits, beyond the mental benefits. It's just like this moment of just really coming back to who you are and what you want in life.
So for people that have never tried it before, can they come along to their first class? Is there anything they need to know?
Yeah, I mean, we have new people starting every single day across the 3 studios.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have a lot of people come through the doors quite organically just through word of mouth. That's kind of our main marketing way at the moment. And we also do things like free beginners classes to, really lower the barrier to entry and make sure that people feel it's accessible to them and to try it before they kind of decide they want to continue with a membership or with a longer term practice.
That's really interesting too, because I think there is definitely a barrier when you think everyone's been doing this for years and they're a yogi and they're going to be better than me, and that barrier just to try. And then when you get there and you realise no one's looking at me, no one's judging me, I can just be here on the mat and just do what I want to do without feeling judged.
Yes, I think that's a common misconception, I think that people think, I can't touch the ground, or I can't do XYZ pose, I can't do this. But there's a saying in yoga, and yoga isn't about touching your toes, it's about the journey on the way down. And it's so cute and so true.
Yes. And tell me a bit about the retreats that you run. So what is the experience that someone might have on a retreat? So other than just you're there to do exercise, what is that journey they're going on? Yeah,
the retreats are powerful. We've been running them for 10 years alongside the studios. And our retreats are, it's a strong word, but it's true. They're transformational. They really have this insane benefit of going deeper into your practice. We have people that come on retreats that have never even done yoga in their life, and it's their first time experiencing the practice because they want to dive in deep just to start. And they really find it spacious. And I think there's a lot around retreats because you don't have to cook.
Yes.
You don't have to clean up, you don't have to do any of these getting from A to B, you don't have to go to work. It's more than a holiday, it's really an experience of just allowing yourself to let go, coming back to your purpose, reconnecting, and they're really, really powerful experiences.
I can see that investment into self is certainly something that not just mums, but especially mums may be looking for when, particularly if people have young children and they have literally not had a moment to themselves. Even on the toilet, the kids come to the door and being able to have that time, and I can see that space and coming back to self is so important.
That's mainly our target market for retreats is mums or parents. And at the beginning of the retreat, we sit in a circle and everyone says their intention, why they're there, what they're going to get out of the week and how they're feeling. There's a lot of guilt that comes up. A lot of mums say, I feel guilty, I've left my family, I've left my kids. And then fast forward to the end of the week, they say, I'm so grateful that I did this retreat because now I go home with my cup being full.
So important.
It's such a flip, and it's so fascinating to watch that shift and then go, well, actually, I'm a better parent, I'm a better partner, I'm a better employer, I'm a better boss, or whatever it is, because I've filled up my own cup. And I think that's where retreats differ from holidays. They're more of a cup filler.
Yes, interesting that you said at the end of the retreat they're looking forward to go home as a better person, whereas a holiday you're like, can we just extend? I can't be the person I was before the holiday just yet. I need some more time. So that's interesting. And what about you personally? So this yoga journey that you've been on, how do you think that's changed you?
I mean, I've been doing yoga since I was 25 and I'm 40. So it's been 15 years of my practice. It's definitely, shifted and changed. I think owning a business, you are time poor at times. And funnily enough, ironically, yoga's been the first thing to go for me. But as soon as I get back to the practice, I really realize how much it inspires me, how much better my body feels, how much better my mind feels. I'm a better boss myself. I'm a better partner to my partner, like so many things. So for me, yoga is a necessity and it plays out in different ways every single week. Some weeks I'm, more about vinyasa and wanting more of a strong, powerful practice. And some weeks I listen to my body and I'm more about yin and calm and meditation and do more kind of peaceful, mindful practices. So it just depends on how I'm feeling.
So if people are starting out and they want to know the different types of yoga and what to expect, what's a bit of a debrief so they can choose correctly?
Think of it simply as things like vinyasa flow or slow flow or anything with the word flow is going to be breath to movement. Okay. So it's more of a vigorous, energizing practice versus on the yin to yang side. So if that's more yang, the more yin styles are meditation or yin yoga or yoga nidra, and they're all really down regulating. So really good for people that, you know, have really stressful jobs or stressful lives and wanting to kind of ground. We say at the studio, the best part is to do a little bit of everything, right? A little bit of yin, a little bit of yang, and that balances out your week quite nicely.
I must say that's what I did. There's 6 a.m., yes, doing the vinyasa and the really energizing strong flow, because that sets me up for the day, and you go into your day charged. And then my first experience of a yin class on a Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock was mind-blowing. I just didn't realize how much I could get from just laying in a pose for such a long period of time. My brain is telling my body, you need to move, and the body's going, no, we're just staying here. And I'm like, is that what you do? And at the end of the practice, I felt so relaxed, but for the rest of the week, my body, I felt like this tension had gone. And I'm someone who would go for massages quite often because I feel quite tight and my muscles were relaxed. And the holding the poses, I think, is very different to, you might exercise and stretch, but are you holding each pose for 4 minutes or so? Yeah. And that was quite a profound learning for me, is actually holding that pose.
Yes, yeah, there's science behind that, because a lot of people you see stretch, they stretch for 10 seconds, 5 seconds, but actually you need to hold a stretch for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes to make a change. So that's why yin yoga is so beneficial, and I bet you slept so well that Sunday night.
So well. Yeah, so good. So you're doing incredible things. And is there anything else that, I guess, as a business owner, advice that you might give other business owners that are listening?
Oh, so many things. I mean, I think for me, my biggest advice to everyone is the 80-20 rule. I really live by that. You know, I think I'm a recovering perfectionist, I say. And I think at the beginning I was trying to get everything perfect and everything right. But then I realized it's 80% good enough. So even with my team, we're like, if we have, you know, comms that go out or, you know, anything, a retreat, or, you know, we just really make sure it's to the point where it's 80%, 90%, and then there's a percentage of improvement, because I just think perfection delays progress. And in business, you constantly have to be moving and doing things. We're constantly getting feedback, whether it's from our clients, our community, and making sure we're always kind of improving in that way. So that's kind of been my biggest thing.
That's really good, and I love a recovering perfectionist, because there are a lot of people like that out there, and just accepting that 80% and progressing forward. It's amazing. And what are you doing out in the community? So outside of yoga, are you working in the community in any way with Warrior One, or?
We work with a lot of different things. So, you know, Warrior One supports a lot of different charities when they come across, whether it's like a marathon or a cycling thing. Sometimes there's community events in that space. We're also working with a member at the moment who has a business that, well, it's not a business, it's a charity with coats for winter for the homeless. Oh, wow. So we do lots of little things like that. And if there's anyone ever in our community that's like, we want support or we want to, you know, raise money for this, that's something we constantly do, or free yoga events to raise money. So it's a really beautiful community in that sense, all supporting each other, particularly our members or our people that have been coming every day or for years. Some of them have been coming for 10 years to Brighton. And so it's just a lovely way to give back. So we're all about that.
And is it for families? Can families do yoga? Is there anything for children or teens or even pregnant mums? So who do you serve?
We serve everyone. In public classes, we take kids from 10.
Oh, wow.
So we actually have like family and friends packs that you can share with your family. So we have a lot of families that come in on the weekends, which is beautiful. It's a really good thing for teens, particularly going through VCE and the stress of school. So that's been great. Pregnancy, yes, all our classes are available for pre or postnatal.
Amazing. So how do people look you up? How do they find you?
So we're Warrior One Yoga on Instagram. We are warrior1yoga.com.au on the internet. And yeah, we can't wait to see some new faces in the studio.
Thank you so much for coming in today, and congratulations on 10 years. That's such a huge milestone.
Thank you so much.
And what a beautiful brand.
Thank you so much, Kate.
This is the Inspired CEO, and we'll be right back.